Alrighty, it's your boy Zeoxys, and we're back with another Goddess of Victory Nick Cave video. And in today's video, we're going to actually be ranking the top 5 DPS's attackers in this game. Now, we did this video, I want to say almost 2 months ago now, and obviously we've gotten a lot of new characters, so it's probably going to be updated, maybe it won't be. And obviously my last one, I didn't consider a lot of better characters. I want to say more because I was in early game and I wasn't really too aware of all the characters, but now I have more, obviously, of understanding of the game. I can tell you guys, well, I already had an understanding of the game, but I have understanding of majority of the characters in this game now that I have a lot of them. So yeah, before we begin, make sure you guys subscribe and like, and I'm actually going to hit you guys with a multi on Dorothy's banner because we can actually do that. So let's see if we can get ourselves a Dorothy dupe. That'd be pretty nice if we could get ourselves a Dorothy dupe. Right now she's 1 star, right? Before we even get into the video, she's 1 star. Oh, gold. Okay. Let's see. 2? Just 1. Okay, can we get a Dorothy dupe? Pilgrim. Oh! Hold on. Yes! Yes, sir! We need 1 more and then she'll be 2 stars. That's great. Perfect. Okay, go. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. So, let's get into the video. Alright, so we're going to start off with some honorable mentions first. So I want to say Drake is an honorable mention. Obviously, we already know she's a great shotgun DPS character in the game. A very, very good character overall. I think this is one of the characters you could probably start your account off with if you get tired of rerolling for the Pilgrims of the game. She could take you quite far in this game, early on and even late game, because she's more important late game, I feel like. Another character is Guilty, right? Now, I know people might be surprised that Guilty's not in the top 5, but my only reason, I wanted her in the top 5, but my only reasoning for not putting her in the top 5 is simply because she's a character that kind of depends, like the damage she does depends on another character, like your other DPS, right? So it's kind of hard for me to say this is one of the best DPS. I mean, she is definitely one of the best DPS, but it's kind of hard for me to say she's a top 5 DPS when it's like you need to have either the top 1, 2, or 3 DPS in order for her to really be up there, right? Hopefully that makes sense, but if not, trust me, in my heart, I believe she's the top 5, but overall, there's that. But in 5th place, we actually are going to have Laplace. Now, I feel like people might not agree with this one, right? I think 5th place for a lot of people will be between like Laplace, Maxwell, Noah, like one of those boss like damage dealers in the game. Or if not, let me know your top 5 down below. But I think for the damage, I'm going to give it to Laplace. I feel like this is a character who can actually take you all around the game from the beginning to the end. Obviously, more endgame as well with her burst skill when she gets the beam. It is only 5 seconds, but I feel like if her beam was 10 seconds, it would just be way too broken. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind, on release, she was nerfed from then, I guess, the closed beta, from what I hear. I didn't play Nikki on the closed beta, I don't know. But she's a great character, right? On her burst skill, gets the pierce effect, changes her weapon, does damage over time, and then also when her hero vision is fully stacked, she gets true damage, which ignores defense of the enemy, which is very, very good. Not to mention, her hero vision is obviously increasing the explosion range by a lot too. So I think this is a character that can honestly get you through the game a lot. A very good character, one of the cooler looking characters in the game as well. And yeah, so you guys definitely let me know what you think about this one. And yeah. Now, in 4th place, I'm going to give it to Haran Stone. I know a lot of people might not agree with this one because I know a lot of people feel like she falls off late game or end game. And I do agree to an extent, but I feel like Endgame still has a decent amount of mobs, right? I really want to say Endgame is really just bosses, right? Because when I think of Endgame, I'm thinking of Special Interception, PvP, and then also freaking, I guess, the Tower, and then also Union Raid, right? Both Union Raid and Special Interception are only bosses, and then Tower stages also have bosses in there, some of the stages, and then PvP are enemies. But I feel like she is going to be very good still. Not really against the bosses, but obviously against mobs, right? In PvP, this girl can still very much nuke. In majority of the tower, this girl can still very much nuke. In Special Interception and SI, not really that crazy, or Special Interception and Union Rain, not really that crazy, unless it comes to someone like Blacksmith, where you have to like get rid of the bombs. She's gonna be good for that with her AoE. But overall, since this is not just endgame, this is from the beginning to the end, obviously I could still say Haran is a top 5 DPS of the game, because this girl will carry you from the beginning of the game until the end of the game, right? Maybe you won't use her as much endgame, but early on until definitely midway, beginning of the end game, she's definitely going to still be a fantastic DPS, right? Obviously, she has the virus transfer, and then her ultimate hits like a truck against like mobs and stars. So, I mean, even against the bosses, right? It'll still hit. So keep that in mind. But yeah. Now in third we have Alice. Now this one is going to definitely be one I think people might comment about, because this is a character who could potentially deal more damage than the number 1 and 2 character on your team, right? It's just more of how you build them. So keep in mind, Alice is the hardest hitting character in the game that is not a pilgrim, right? Which says a lot. And why she becomes so broken is because when you use her burst skill, she increases her own attack up by an insane amount, and her charge speed, right? This girl has a charge speed percent of like 350. She's the only sniper actually to have a charge a full charge damage of 350. Every other sniper has it of 250, so she gets an additional 100. Now when building her, especially if you have overload gear and you've completely maxed out her skills and the cube on top of it, you can essentially have this girl doing a million to 2 million damage per second, right? Which is very, very, heck, even faster than a second. You literally just can spam click it. It's insane. You can quick scope it and literally go crazy with this character, right? And that's where, again, a lot of people will say their Alice hits more than their Scarlet, hits more than their Modernia. And yes, if you build her super insanely good and crackly, build her insane with the overload and obviously her skills, she will hit like a truck. Right, this is a character that's going to be very good. Now, I want to say, though, this is a character I don't feel like is as good until you really build her. Right, so in terms of, like, early game, I'm not saying she's not all that good early game, but I just don't feel like it's definitely night and day with her end game and her early game, right? When you actually have access to overload gear, when you have access to her cubes, when you have access to all those things, it's definitely different, right? She's still going to do some damage early on. I mean, early on is quite easy. She can still get the job done. But I feel like this girl is a character that is just shines obviously 10 times 1,000 more when fully invested into her. And this is a character you kind of need to fully invest into her, right? It's not like, you don't need to and she'll still do good. I mean, she will, but obviously not as good as a fully invested, right? But that's just common sense for any other character as well. So keep that in mind. And second, we have Modernia. Now, Modernia is a character that a lot of people might disagree with. I don't think she does more damage than the number 1 player, but I do feel like she has more use, more overall value in the game than the number 1 player. Hence why people will say she's the best character in the game. And I'm not going to agree with you guys. I'm not going to disagree with you guys. Obviously, I could understand 1000% why you would see her as the best character in the game, and I could see why you wouldn't. But this is a fantastic character, right? She's a character who essentially on her burst skill increases the full burst time by 5 seconds, and then she also has unlimited ammo for the full 15 seconds. And she goes into her destroy mode where a bigger radius, right, extends the line of sight, and the bigger, like, the radius of the bullets is actually, like, it's quite big, right? It's like kind of can take how do I word this? It's not an AoE thing, but the circle is so big, like the radius is so big, it acts like an AoE, essentially, like an AoE move. And basically, enemies within that radius are getting hit, right? So she's very, very good there. Very, very strong character. And then also, every time she lands normal attack 200 times, during her hit rate effect, when she's in the full burst, her attack actually increases even more, right? Keep in mind, because her full burst is extended by extra 5 seconds, you're most likely going to be in here, right? You're most likely going to get 200 bullets off, especially since you have unlimited ammo. You're going to get 200 bullets off when you're in the full hit rate status, and you're going to get this attack buff, right? It's a very good character. Then obviously the crit damage, and then the additional, she's a very, very strong character. Very, very, very broken character. I would say this is a must-have character, one of the characters you must invest into early on, late game, whatever game. Whenever you put her, invest into her, because she's a fantastic character in terms of damage, right? But I just, again, feel like she does slightly less damage. Not even slightly, like maybe a tad bit, a bit less damage than the number 1 person, but yeah. And for number one, we have Scarlet. Now, I don't own this character, obviously, but this is the hardest hitting character in the game. That's why she's the number one for the DPS rankings, right? Essentially, when after using 10 normal attacks, affect self, she increases her attack by 23.50%, and that stacks up to 5 times for 5 seconds. 10 normal attacks in 5 seconds is doable, so you're basically gonna stay at that cap, right? Once it gets to 5 stacks, after 10 bullets, it will just refresh at 5 stacks. So essentially, once you get that off, basically once you get 50 normal attacks off, you're going to be having over 100% attack increase for yourself. And then obviously, her HP gets lowered. Now, this is a character where obviously the lower her HP gets, I want to say, the stronger she becomes, because you guys can see here when her HP falls below 60%, her crit damage increases, not by a lot, but by a nice, by something. 6% is not all that crazy, but it's something, right? And then also, in her burst skill, when her HP is below 50%, her crit rate increases by damn near 20%. That's pretty good, right? And then also the AoE to all enemies on the burst skill as well. And then when she is attacked, right? When she's attacked, she actually has a 30% chance of dealing 138% of attack gets damage to the person that attacked her, right? Now that's going to be very good because she's increasing her attack already herself. She herself is increasing her attack by 100+%. On top of, she's a burst 3, so on top of characters like freaking Litter, who can increase it even more, Polly, who can increase it even more, right? Those are characters who can make this character hit even harder. But yeah, there's no question she is the hardest hitting character in the game, right? Now, obviously, if you guys are wondering why why Dorothy isn't on this tier list, even though, like I said, or why Dorothy's just not on this tier list, is because she's not an attacker. I know she does act as a DPS, but when I say top 10 DPS or top 5 DPS, I really mean top 5 attackers, right? And I hope you guys understand that, right? Because I also do top 5 defenders, top 5 supporters, right? So hopefully one of you guys understand when I say top 5 DPS, I mean top 5 attackers, right? But yeah, I'm going to say 1 is Scarlet, 2 Modernia, 3 Alice, 4 Haran, and 5 Laplace. Like I said, 5 can be switched between any characters. And like I said, I want a guild team to be the top 5. But I feel like guild team really depends on the other characters on your team. Or at least the highest hitting character on your team, right? Highest attacker, right? That's how she works for her first skill. So keep that in mind. Let me know if you guys agree with this or not. I don't know if I want to say this is just more of my opinion than a fact. Because obviously I considered and put all facts into it. But I don't know if I would say it's my opinion fully, right? I guess I will say that. I want to say there's facts included, but it's more my opinion. Because if I say it's all facts, that means you guys would all have to agree with me that my 1 to 5 is correct, 1000%. And I know I'm not going to see that. So I want to say there is facts into this, but it is somewhat of an opinionated. I can't speak. Opinionated. Oh my god, I can't speak. My mouth is dry. Pause. Opinionated decision here, right? So you guys let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.